Welcome to the Scholarship Tracker application tutorial video number 4. In this video, we're going to update two endpoints. First of all, we're going to update our bulk endpoint so that it does not duplicate scholarships in our database. And secondly, we are going to add search functionality to our GET request so that users can search by amount, date, type of scholarship, so on and so forth. First, we're importing optional from typing. The optional type allows function parameters to accept either a specific value or none. We need this because our filter parameters are optional. Students don't have to use them when searching for scholarships. For example, deadline underscore after colon optional open bracket date close bracket equals none means this parameter can be a date or it can be nothing at all. The key benefit of using optional is backward compatibility. Existing code that doesn't pass any filters will still work perfectly, as all filter parameters default to none when they're not provided. Now we're importing date from datetime. The date type is Python's built-in type for working with calendar dates. We need this for our deadline filters, which compares dates to determine eligibility. For example, show scholarships with a deadline after January 4th, 2025. When we define deadline underscore after colon optional open brackets date close brackets equals none, FastAPI automatically validates and converts query parameters from strings into proper date objects, handling all parsing and validation for us. Now we're importing decimal from decimal. The decimal type provides precise decimal number handling, unlike floats which can introduce rounding errors. We need this because scholarship amounts represent money, and we require exact precision. We want $20,000, not $19,999.9999 when we write min underscore amount colon optional open brackets decimal close brackets equals none. We're ensuring that currency calculations remain accurate. We avoid using float for money because floating point arithmetic can introduce subtle rounding errors that compound over time. Now we're introducing OR underscore from SQLAlchemy. The OR underscore function is a SQLAlchemy OR operator for combining multiple filter conditions. We need this because our text search needs to check multiple fields simultaneously. When a student searches for STEM, for example, we want to find the keywords in the scholarship name or description or eligibility underscore criteria in our JSON-B object that we discussed in lesson 3. Okay, so let me walk you through what I changed here. Our original endpoint was really simple. It just accepted skip and limit for pagination, ran one query, and gave you back all the scholarships. That worked fine for browsing, but there was a problem. Students couldn't filter anything. Every time you hit this endpoint, you got the same 15 scholarships back. And many of these scholarships, maybe the deadline has passed or maybe you don't meet the eligibility criteria, so we need to be able to search. The big change I made was switching from immediate execution to what's called query composition. Instead of running the database query all in one line, I'm now building it up step by step. I start with my base query, then I add filters only if they're provided, and only at the very end do I actually execute it and get my results back. This is powerful because the same code can handle getting all scholarships, getting scholarships by deadline, or any combination of filters. I don't need separate functions for every possible scenario. I added 4 new operational parameters based on what students actually need. The most important ones are deadline after and deadline before. These solve the critical question students have. What can I apply for? When you use these together, you can create date ranges like show me scholarships expiring in the next 30 days. Then I added min amount as a secondary filter so students can prioritize their time, like only show me scholarships worth at least $10,000. And finally, there's a search parameter for keywords, so you can search across scholarship names and descriptions for things like STEM or leadership. Each of these filters only runs if you actually provide the parameter. So here's the cool part. They all stack together with AND logic. So if you request scholarships with a deadline after today and a minimum amount of $10,000 and the word STEM in the title or description, all 3 of those conditions have to be true for a scholarship to show up in your results. The more filters you add, the more specific your results get. And because all these parameters default to none, the endpoint is still backward compatible. If you just call get scholarships without any filters, it works exactly like it did before. All those if statements get skipped and you get everything back. I added all this power without breaking anything that already worked. So what we've done here is transform a basic get all endpoint into intelligent search. Students can now really ask specific questions like show me high value STEM scholarships closing in the next 2 months. And the best part, the same code will work whether we have 15 scholarships or 5,000. The key thing is here, we kept things simple. We had one endpoint and we modified that endpoint so it will execute a basic GET request, and it will also be very specific if we need it to. Code base minimized, simple, precise. Now I've got a problem with my bulk import endpoint. I need to set this endpoint up so that I don't duplicate scholarships in the database. Here's how we're going to do it. Okay, so first thing I did was I added a unique constraint to the scholarship model. I set unique equals true on the name field. That prevents duplicates at the database level. Then I started building the bulk import logic. I created 2 empty arrays, created underscore scholarships to track what we successfully added, and skipped underscore scholarships for duplicates. Next, I wrote the for loop, for scholarships underscore data in scholarships, and added the duplicate check. If a scholarship already exists, append it and then continue. And this is where I got stuck. I kept putting try in the wrong place. I'd have an except without the matching try block, which Python obviously doesn't like. Then I started fighting with indentation. I'd have the if statement outside the loop or the except at the wrong level. Finally, I just started over. I deleted everything below the if created underscore scholarships line and built the commit logic from scratch. Added the try block first, then commit, then except with rollback. And I changed the error response from 500 to 400 because this is a client error, not a server error. Finally, I got it to work. Okay, I want to test this. I'm going to go to the backend directory. I'm going to activate my virtual environment, and I'm going to start the server. And actually, you can see here I have an error. Looks like a pretty easy one. I misspelled unique in the model. So I'm going to fix that quickly here. We're going to save that. I'm going to start the server and it runs correctly. I want to test this out, but actually we forgot something here. We got to run Alembic first. So I'm going to do Alembic revision auto-generate with a message added unique constraint to scholarship model. And then I'm going to run Alembic upgrade head and then run my application again. I'm going to go to Swagger UI. I'm going to try to upload a scholarship that I already have. Okay, and so let's test this to make sure that it actually worked. If I go and log into Postgres, which I already did here, and you can see I just have one Coca-Cola scholarship, but the messaging is not clear. I want the application to tell me if I'm trying to upload duplicate scholarships. So how do we fix this to get better messaging to the user? Response underscore model equals list, open brackets, scholarship read, close brackets, tells FastAPI only return an array of scholarships, but that's too restrictive. If anything gets skipped, the user just sees an empty array with no explanation. By removing it, we can return a dictionary with multiple pieces of information, a summary showing total submitted, created, and skipped counts, plus the actual data for both created and skipped scholarships. We still validate the created scholarships using scholarship read.model underscore validate, but we're just giving ourselves flexibility to return more context. Now, when I test by uploading all 15 scholarships that we already have in the database again, instead of getting an empty array, I see total 15, created 0, skipped 15, which is way better feedback for the user. Let's test this out by searching for scholarships for STEM students. This returns 1 scholarship. I thought there'd be more. If we go over to VS Code, we can take a look here. We're going to search to see how many scholarships have STEM, and it is more than that. We have Google and Amazon both offering STEM scholarships, so something's not right with our function here. So the original search only looked at name and description fields. When I searched for STEM, it only found Davidson Fellows because that's the only scholarship with STEM in the description text. But Google Generation and Amazon Future Engineering both have STEM in their tags arrays. We just weren't searching for it. The fix adds a third condition, tags.any, open parentheses, search, close parentheses. This is a SQLAlchemy method that searches Postgres arrays. It checks if any element in the tag array matches the search term. Now the or underscore open parentheses close parentheses statement checks 3 places. If stem appears in the name or the description or the tags array. The any method is specifically for array fields in Postgres. It's how you search inside an array column. Now we need to restart the server and try the search functionality again. Now I'll try searching for stem again, and as you can see this time we get a much larger response with Google and Amazon both included correctly this time. And if I search for African American, I get the Ron Brown Scholar Program and the UNCF scholarships, which are both correct. If I search for minority, I get the Gates Scholarship, which does have minority listed in the tags array. And if I search for need-based, let's see, there's a lot that are need-based. You get the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation, the Ron Brown Scholar Program, which both reflect need-based in their tags arrays. Let's try searching by date here. Let's do a deadline before 2026-01-01 and deadline after 2026-01-31, anything in the month of January. And it looks like maybe I have these backwards here. There we go. So now here's scholarships that are expiring in the month of January. So you can imagine that'd be pretty helpful. Looks like there's just one of them. All right, now to finish off the testing here, let's do scholarships that are a minimum of 10,000 and a maximum of 30,000. There you go. So our filter functionality is working as expected.